Welcome to part 3 of our Airtable CRM series. Today we're focusing on generating in Airtable effective cold emails using ChatGPT. Let's get started. Hi, this is Greg from Business Automated, and in the part 2 of this series I have shown you how to use OpenAI ChatGPT to generate a reply to your emails coming into Airtable. Now in this episode I would like to show you how to create cold emails to people that you have inside of your database, or it can be even warm emails, how you can create those emails directly inside of Airtable using ChatGPT and then schedule those emails for sending on specific days. Okay, so here as you will see we have a list of contacts, and here I have specifically filtered out contacts that are called cold leads. So you can see that, okay, so these are the people that maybe sign up for some sort of marketing service that would like to know more about automation and so on. Always make sure that if you're sending cold emails, this is within the rules allowed and so on. Now what we would like to do is that here, once we have all those emails and so on, if you contacted those people within your CRM, then you have the list of your last contacts. So you could, for example, to people that you have contacted, you could send them like a follow-up emails and so on. But let's start with explanation. Like, for example, I would like to send a couple of cold emails. What could I send to them? Here on the email topic list, you will see that we have a list of potential topic. These are replies. Let's look only on the cold emails. So like these are the cold emails. So we could filter out this by not using the replies. We could filter it out by excluding is not replies. So there is like 5 different ideas that you have over here. And okay, maybe you would like to have a couple of other ideas. So actually, when I was thinking about this, I decided also to use ChatGPT, but this time we'll use a short extension that we have here inside of the extension. So we'll change over from the CRM board to the AI board. And inside of the AI board, there is a short script, and you can ignore that token over here because I will change that afterwards and so on. But basically this is a short script that you can also find in the description of this video when you would like to download this base. But basically you put your own OpenAI token over here. You can get your OpenAI API tokens by going to platforms.openai.com, and then inside of your account you can create new tokens. Alright, so here there is a simple scenario. I will not be going through the details. I will just show you that here you sort of say whether this is using, if you don't have access to GPT-4, then this should be left as false, otherwise you can change it to true. And then it would basically change which model it is using, and after that it's actually asking for, it's a little bit better to use the GPT since the answer would be better. So I'll just show you the version with GPT-4 and what we will ask for. I will not go through the details and so on because it's quite a bit of code, but it basically connects to OpenAI and downloads the ideas for cold email. So welcome to AI generation. What ideas would you like to generate for? Let's say 5 ideas. Alright, and now it's sending post request to OpenAI and receiving hopefully some answers in a few seconds. Alright, and you can see that we got the response. So the response is logged over here, and you can also see that it has created here sort of a short title for here, and then it has also created description of what that email should be. Discover the tools and strategies today. It's helpful to give you a couple of ideas around your business and so on. If you change this back to ChatGPT 3, it will do slightly different result. So like, for example, it will not be that easy to fish out separately the title and so on, but it's still sort of helpful, you know. Like it gives you this sure and so on without the title. You would have to sort of take out that title separately, but I think this is still pretty pretty useful, gives you a couple of additional ways if you are sending messages to clients, gives you a couple of ideas that you could adjust. But so this is just the initial start for the idea. You can fine-tune the idea, but now let's go back to the contacts. And now what we would like to do, so if these are the contacts that you have selected, you have you can filter out what contacts you want, and now you can have different approaches. So you can, for example, say we would like to send them a teaser about invoicing, and you can do it for everyone, and then ask to the next step, generate email copy, and then run for everyone, generate email copy. Or you can, just do one by one and test, or you could try do one and then schedule it for sending, and then try another one, and so on. So what is happening at the back, it is actually creating right now the copy, and you can see that it's changed back to review email, telling you that okay, you should review that particular email. What is happening behind the scenes? So whenever you change this trigger, there is an automation that is scheduled, that is set behind. So inside of the automations, you will see that there is automation called trigger email generation, and these are the ones that we were using for the reply. This is for the cold emails. This is the same formula, it's just for different tables. You will see here when the record is having status generate email copy meaning marketing copy, or the copy in the understanding of text, and then the topic is not empty, so you need to select some topic so it has something to work with. When this happens, then run a script, and the script here sends basically the record ID to the URL that you give over here. So for this URL, you have seen this, we're using make.com, and we have this following scenario. You can also download the blueprint from the description of this video. And what is happening on the first stage, you would create the email, you would say copy address of the webhook, you would go back over here and you would replace this with your own webhook. So basically just making sure you need to change to the edit mode, and you just need to replace this URL here, make sure that this is in the quotation mark, and so on. So this was replaced, save, and this trigger here would start this scenario. So you will see, similar as the scenario in the reply, we are checking here whether the record exists. If the record exists, we are looking for the details of that particular contact. Because here every row, that's the contact, so what we will do here, we will look up the information about that contact. So we are just looking up the contact table, record ID. Here we are getting all the information from that particular row, and we're using this in the next step. We're getting the ID of the topic. So the topic of the email that we have selected, you would pick it, you would press this one, so this would give the ID of that topic over here so that you can look it up. Now it will give all the details for that specific topic. And one additional thing that is important to know about the topics is that inside of the topic you can also set what is the number of tokens you would like to use. Actually, for those two we didn't set anything, but you could set a higher or lower number of tokens for if you would like to kind of fine-tune the usage of OpenAI model, or you can also adjust the temperature. If you put it to a higher number, let's say 0.7, 0.9, the responses would be a little bit more random. If you have it closer to 0, the responses are a little bit more conservative and similar. So this information, this is something that we'll be using here in the next step. And you see that there are two routes over here. So the top one is the fresh email, means we don't have any comments over here, since this also allows you to edit whatever you would like to change about the cold email over here. So you can add some comments, but let's start first with basic scenario. So there is no comments, means we are running the route over here. And inside of the OpenAI module, we're using the chat completions. And if you have GPT-4, you can change over to GPT-4. It will have better quality responses, but if not, then everything remains the same. Here inside of the system, we are telling OpenAI that it's a writing assistant which creates highly converting business emails. Now we're adding another role, user, coming from us. We explain a little bit about the background of our business so that it has a little bit better context what to put into the email so that it knows our business, our services, and so on. You can list services here and so on. And now we're giving the instruction to the OpenAI, say, create an email to, this is the name of the person, who is, we provide also the title of this person from here, from our list. If you don't have titles, or if you don't have companies, usually you have companies, but if you, for example, don't have the title, you could exclude that. So you could remove this from here, delete this. And then in the next one, we say sign email as us. So this way it can always have your footer at the bottom and your contact details. And then write an email about. Here, this is where our email topic comes into place. We are passing the notes. So here, email topic notes, we are passing all those information as the material for OpenAI to generate that email. Now the next stage, we're adding user, and then we say Markdown, use Markdown to format the email. This will also make it possible to have a nicer formatting of the email, so like bold and like very basic formatting, but it will look a little bit less plain text. Finally, these are the maximum tokens and temperature that I was talking about. So if you don't have any values, it will just ignore it. If you have any specific values, if you would like to have it a little bit more creative, you can put like 09 and so on. There's no other parameters set over here, so then you can click OK. By the way, some of those parameters to be visible, you need to set show advanced settings. OK. And now we are having one more module over here, which is called text parser. The reason for that is that OpenAI will basically give us one blob of text, which usually starts with a subject and then the content of the email. So what we are doing over here, we are using regex, like regex pattern, regular expression, to divide this into two groups. I will not be going into explanation of regular expressions because that requires another video, but this pattern usually works in getting the subject here and getting the rest of the content of the email. And you also need to input the text of on which it should run this check. So here you will see the messages and then the content. Okay, so we click OK. By the way, let's see whether it was successful here. Actually, in this case, it wasn't. So you can see that the input was not starting with the subject. It was just the content of the email, and it did not found any matches. I will show you in a second how this is handled. By the way, you will see that here those stars around my name and around the business, this is Markdown. Those two stars are basically meaning bold, and you will see that inside of Airtable, this is how the bold is created over here. So this is just a technical element to make the formatting a little bit nicer. So in this case, it did not found the subject in that content, but that's not a problem. You will see that we have catered for that issue over here. So now, obviously, we're updating that contact with the response, and you will see that we are, as the email body, we are using element number 2 from our Markdown, from our text parser. So number 2, that would be the body of the email, and number 1, if there was a subject, then we would be putting the subject over here. In case this is empty, in case it doesn't found any matches, because we have selected here at the very end, continue the execution of the route even if the model finds no matches, then in this case, if it doesn't match the format, we would just put the actual response from OpenAI directly here into the email body to see what's the result. Okay, so this is this email creation route, but we also have another option, which would be editing the response. So for example, here we see dear, name, and family name. We could say make it less formal. So if we are asking for making this more formal, we said make it less formal. And in this case, we will change it to generate email. It will run again. So back in here, you will see that it will start executing, and it has executed the second route, which is edit email. And it works because there is a text inside of that edit comment, make it less formal. So this is why it's editing that second route. Let's see at the response. Right, so you can see that it has changed only to the first name, and maybe we could also say like make it shorter. Let's do it one more time. And as this is doing it, I'll just explain you what's happening over here. So here actually we're using the GPT-4, but maybe let's change it to GPT-3. So here we're repeating everything that we have in the model above. So we are saying your email writing assistance, we put the background of our business, we have the same prompt, we say put the signature, write an email, use markdown to format the email. So everything is the same as in the module above, but now the difference is that here we are feeding back to the system what was the answer that it has provided. So it has provided answer like this: email subject, email body. And now from our side, we're adding one more input that says edit content, and based on edit content, it provides us with the response here inside of the choices. Boom. So you will see that this was the response. By the way, since we didn't have any subject, it replied with the subject, but it didn't put anything over there. Let's see the response. Right, it was a longer email. Now it has only 2 paragraphs. So this is significantly shorter. Also, you can use another thing that once you click here on the side, this gives you the changes history. So you can actually see how much of an edit has happened. So you can see that I was like, okay, actually there's quite a bit that was deleted, some parts were maintained. So this will also give you feedback, what was changed, what wasn't changed. Okay, coming back to the scenario. So this was the reply. Here we are using the same type of regex, which means matching group number 1, matching group number 2. And if those groups are found, or even if they're not found, we continue to the next stage. And here, in a similar way, we're updating the record. We're changing the status from what it was previously generate email to review email, so that we know that that email needs a review from our side. And same way, we're putting number 2 from the text parser here, and number 1 group over here. If it's not available, then we just put the full response from OpenAI over there. And one more element, we are also deleting that edit comment, and we're using erase. You can find this under here, the general function. So you can say, okay, we would like to erase that field, and that would also delete that comment over here. So if you have reviewed the email, let's say you can add the title. If everything is working fine, what you could do is say, fantastic, I would like to schedule this email for sending. I would like to schedule this email for sending. Now the next step would be, you also need to set when this would be scheduled. So you can schedule this for now, you can schedule this for later. So you could schedule this for a specific date, or you could schedule this for another date here. So once this was scheduled, you will see that actually those emails were copied over to the bottom of the list over here, and you can say that both of them are talking about emails. So we have scheduled right now 2 emails to be sent out in the future. So you could come back to those original things, and you would say like, okay, so fine, we have sent out to those people emails about invoicing. What about we send to them emails about ChatGPT? Let's generate the email copy for all of them. Okay, so the emails have been generated and they have been generated together with the subject. So let me just quickly show you how this looks like in case you have a response with a subject line. So here OpenAI responded with following message here inside the content, and you can see that this message already, this is a block of text, but it contains the subject in the beginning of that message. So that's why this module over here will basically use this whole complete content, and out of that, through that regex formula, we'll be able to fish out two groups. So the first group was what was after the word subject, and the second one is the rest of that text. So it basically split it into two parts. So that means in this case, once we are updating that contact, since this is not empty, we have found that text, and we have also found the subject. So this way we are splitting this into two groups, and we're also here using trim function just to reduce that white space in the beginning. Okay, so let's go back over here, and now you can see that, okay, so let's assume this is everything correct. You would like to schedule that. You can see that, oh, actually we have sent out the previous email on 28th, so maybe this email we would send out on the 31st. The previous email was 27th, so maybe let's add a next one on the 30th. And here, okay, it can be Monday. We can apply this to the other people, and in this case, let's schedule all of them. Bam. So all of those emails will be copied over to the interaction. You can see that I'm here on the scheduled emails. You can see we have added them to the list of emails waiting. Those 4 emails are waiting to be sent out on the different dates depending on the individual person flow. Those emails are also being copied using automation inside of Airtable, so that's something that you have to set up. And the way it's set up is we're watching the condition on the table called contacts, so that's where we are setting up the emails. And when the status is scheduled, so when we want to take this action, and the sending date exists, because if there's no date we wouldn't know when to send it. Once this is true, we would trigger the action over here. The action would be create a record on the interactions table, and the type of the record would be scheduled email, because later it will change to email. So this is scheduled email. The date and time, as you can see over here, the date and time which controls when it would go out would be the sending date. You have to be sure that you change this from static to dynamic, and then you can select the sending date. The contact to which this email is sent, this is also coming from this original record, so you just add the record ID over there. The subject would be the email subject, and the note/content, that's where we put the email body, because what you see over here, this is the email body, but it's basically called notes/content because this is shared between multiple types of interactions, so it's just easier to view it this way. So once this will be sent out, this will automatically change to email on that specific date. This way you have also the tracking of the emails that you have sent out. Okay, and how those emails are being sent out to your customers, this is something that I will cover in the next video, so please subscribe if you would like to get notification when that video is released. And yeah, that's everything for this video. Let me know in the comments how do you like this scenario, what you think about this, and let me know if you guys have any other business automation needs. Thank you. Bye.